Hi everybody, welcome to the third issue of New Gen magazine. Thank you again for being here and tuning in. We have Mowa Adelea here with us today. So we're just going to ask her a couple questions and we hope that you enjoy today's issue.
Track and field is a very unique sport because it's kind of this mixture of individualism and community kind of together in one. Altogether, it's that kind of like dichotomy. It's not like basketball or soccer where you have teammates. There's really no one to point any fingers at. At the end of the day, it's just you on the track. But then at the same time, you have such a community. Like you have your coaches, and at the university level, you have your sports therapist, athletic therapist. You have your parents and your teammates and all that whole community supporting you. Track is a little bit different too in the sense that you don't really have to necessarily start super duper young. I know a lot of successful athletes that have been football players or soccer players or basketball players. I was a soccer and basketball player before grade 10, which is when I kind of started. Yeah. Be active if you want to start really young, and then once you are kind of okay, I think track is it for me and I want to get serious about it, just getting that exposure, finding a track club or talking to the coaches at your school. Getting that exposure is really key. Coming off of high school, focused on running more. I was a sprinter, and then coming to Trinity and transitioning kind of more to the field events. I had a turning point for me in my first year. I jumped over a meter further, so that was pretty huge for me. But my proudest moment, I would say, is probably my second year, a year where I really grew with God as well. Got an injury in my second year, and it was kind of everything was going great. First year was awesome. And right before a pretty big competition, I think it was Can West, went to go see a doctor, and the doctor was literally yeah, you're done.
What? Oh, what?
Technically, I shouldn't have gone. He was kind of you're gonna need a couple of weeks off. I think that was in terms of my track career, a really big moment where I really had to be dependent on God, because I was kind of okay, you brought me to the school, track has been going great so far, why are you putting this obstacle in my way? Injuries have just, for me, been this thing that I see other people get injured and I feel really bad for them. That happened to me.
So these are some of your medals. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what these are, and especially with what you were just talking about, that injury specifically?
This was the big one, because I came to Trinity super random, wasn't recruited or anything. I was kind of just hi, I do track, can I be on the team? Yeah. So yeah, it was super random, and I remember everyone talking and even making the Canada West team was a really big deal. My first year I ended up medaling. I got bronze in triple jump in comparison to how I did in high school. That was just God, it was just God. It's a cute little story because it's bronze, silver, and gold, but just that one I think really has a special place in my heart because it just wasn't meant to be there. I was supposed to be in the hospital or something, so yeah, I'm really grateful for that one. And then my third and fourth year, I just repeated myself. Canada West, I was the gold medalist in my third year and fourth year, and then I was the national silver medalist in my third and fourth year as well.
Being a student that also does well, that also has goals outside of track, and then being a child of God where your goal is to deepen that intimacy with every moment that you spend with Him, how do you then balance all those things and all those expectations to be a good student, to be a good daughter? In
terms of kind of balancing school and track and other commitments and that relationship, I think you have to at one point be okay, I'm gonna give up this thing, I'm gonna give up going to this place, or that kind of thing, just the short-term things, giving that up because you're okay, I see what I want for myself in the future, and I'm gonna target that. My relationship with God is like a tree, just rooted in that hunger and love for God that I have. Keeping that as your core and having that be your source. Everything else is kind of outflows from that. I wouldn't separate my relationship with God from track or from school. Whatever work you do it with all your heart, as if you're working for God and not human masters.
Come on now, that's a word. How do you stay motivated when you don't want to run?
There's nothing really your coaches or anyone else can say to motivate you. If you're not internally driven, you're not gonna put that work in. If you have faith and do not doubt, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. That one was super powerful for me because I think one thing with the Bible is you can read it like a story, but if you don't actually believe those words, it's not gonna have that impact. So I think literally just sitting and pausing for a second and being oh my goodness, mountains are big, man. Mountains are big. That's the kind of power that we have through Jesus. And I think remembering that, and especially the part that says do not doubt when I'm going through a trial, it's why are you doubting?